the trees over there. You gotta get over here.
Wow, Irma's no joke. Brickell, they evacuated us in the hotel, and the streets of Brickell look like
wow, esto es desde la ventana de mi cuarto. La calle, wow.
Oh, good.
Got tornado.
of them. It's crazy.
Yeah, water conducts electricity.
Grab what you need from the cafe. Quick. Grab food, grab whatever you need.
Gonzalez here now with the very latest on Hurricane Irma. What's going on?
It's the magic of the cafecito that keeps you going.
And actually, I just made some, guys, and all of us. It's about the entire CBS 4 team. All right, not just the weather team. You all as well. We have all been powering through coverage of this hurricane because it is so important for us to prepare you ahead of the storm. During the storm, we want to keep you aware of what is going on so that you can stay safe. And now, of course, although we're still dealing with some gusty squalls because this hurricane is so massive, we're here for you as we take a look at the aftermath and some of the damage and destruction, unfortunately, left behind by Hurricane Irma. And you can see it is just pounding much of the state of Florida, and even now those bands spreading out into parts of Georgia and South Carolina, because that's just how large the wind field is associated with Irma. So the good news is that as we head throughout the day, we are going to see improving weather as Irma continues to lift further away from us. But it's unfortunate, though, for our friends here, especially around the Tampa Bay area and also into the Panhandle, Florida, and the Big Bend. As we take a look at the latest 2 a.m. advisory, we are seeing Irma is a Category 1. It is located 20 miles northwest of Lakeland, Florida, and the max sustained winds 85 miles per hour. It is forecast to move northward here as a Cat 1 and continue on here across parts of Tampa Bay into the Big Bend, into the Panhandle, and then off to the north and west into Georgia likely, and then even into Alabama. A tropical storm. It'll finally weaken by then into Tuesday, likely a depression, possibly into Tennessee or Mississippi, and then swinging back around here up into the Ohio River Valley. In terms of the destructive wind potential, the highest values, of course, right here along Tampa and into parts here of the the northwest coast of Florida along the Big Bend, and we are seeing that threat will likely be increasing as Irma moves northwestward. So that's where we're going to see the hurricane force winds, of course, a life-threatening storm surge, a catastrophic situation unfolding, unfortunately, for everyone up through the Tampa Bay area. And of course, we are still dealing with some of those gusty squalls and still windy out there. As we look at the radar, there you see it. These are the outer bands that are still impacting parts of South Florida. So if you are watching, if you are listening to us on the radio, because I know many of you have lost power, well, we're here for you. We're going to let you know what's going on in case you start to hear that wind pick up again and you're worried, well, what's happening out there? Well, we do have a band right over Deerfield Beach, racing across parts of Tamarack, Pompano Beach, Oakland Park, Sunrise, Davie, Southwest Ranches, Pembroke Pines, Cooper City. Yeah, we are dealing with some gusty downpours moving into your area. And Kendall Lakes, get ready. We're seeing a band moving in your direction. So we're going to continue to see these outer bands impacting parts of South Florida throughout the day. Now the key is mainly quiet, and that's good news because obviously we're going to really have to assess what happened here since they did have to deal with the most destructive part of Hurricane Irma, the eye. We do have a flood watch in place because we had so much rain falling across our area since yesterday with those feeder bands that would just set up and lead to that training of rain moving across the same areas over and over again. Although the rain is not as widespread this morning, we still have all that standing water. So again, you do not want to drive through waters where you cannot detect the depth, meaning pretty much if you do plan on driving around later on once a curfew has been lifted to see what damage has been done to your home or see family and friends, just make sure that you are cautious and that you avoid driving through any flooded roads because you don't know what could be there. It could be a downed power line, could be very dangerous, trees as well. You never know what's lurking in those standing waters, and you want to avoid doing that. So let's take a look at some of the watches and warnings that are in place. Tropical storm warnings, believe it or not, still in place for the Northwest Bahamas. And now here in South Florida, we're under a tropical storm warning because although we're still dealing with some tropical storm force winds, we're not seeing the hurricane force gusts as much as we did yesterday. So we are slowly but surely seeing that weather conditions will be better for us, but it'll still be quite windy throughout the day today and will be breezy as we head into tonight. Now, the areas that are under hurricane warnings currently stretching from central Florida up and down the east and west coast of the state, of course, Tampa, and then moving across the Big Bend and parts of the Panhandle under hurricane warning. And now tropical storm warnings have been extended for parts of South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, and then the northwest portion here of the Panhandle of Florida. As we zoom on in, we'll show you that we are seeing some storm surge watches and warnings. Some extreme storm surge expected here, especially along the Big Bend and into the Tampa Bay area. In addition to that, we have flood warnings that are in place for parts of South Florida and stretching along the east central coast here of the state. And we do have flash flood watches in place for Lake Okeechobee because the Army Corps of Engineers is concerned that we could see some overflow and some flooding taking place because of the wind and also the circulation around Irma. So here we go along the Tampa coastline and parts of the southwest coastline under flash flood watches. And that's also extending here across parts of the Big Bend and the Panhandle of Florida, as well as Georgia and South Carolina. Now, what can you expect today? It is going to be hot. So I know many of you do not want to hear that. You're without power. And my only recommendation to you is once the winds start to subside and it is safer for you to maybe go outside and take in that bath is to help you get you a little break from the heat inside the house. You can do that later today, but keep in mind we're going to still see some gusty squalls. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see 93 degrees, and with the humidity it's going to feel much warmer than that. So again, today we are going to be on the windy side with some strong gusts at times, and as we head through the next few days, unfortunately it is going to stay hot. And this is something that we always talk about after these storms and hurricanes hurricanes pass is the recovery, the aftermath can sometimes even be more difficult than the duration of the actual event taking place, because everyone is, first of all, drained from dealing with the frightening experience of dealing with a hurricane, and then on top of that, you're without power. Some of you may not be able to get in touch with your loved ones. Some of the cell phone lines are down, and we are going to be dealing with some hot and humid weather, but hang in there. Just be patient. At least we're seeing that the worst of the weather really is now lifting northward of us, unfortunately for our friends across the rest of the state and the southeast. But here in South Florida, we are going to hopefully see some of those FPL crews out there helping to get your power back up so you can get some AC. Hopefully you had your hurricane supply in place. Drink plenty of water, stay hydrated, and of course just be there for each other, and we're going to get through this. This too shall pass. All right, so the next few days we'll see highs in the 90s, and we're going to see some storms later on this week.